Hello everyone, Kentu Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Space Engineers, blinded on the screen here, building on, or really continuing building on the battleship. So I think I am the telltale signs say that Space Engineers is going to crash at some point. I know that's inevitable, but so originally, if you remember during the series here, I had the smaller fighters here bolted to the side of the ship, and while that worked, everything was great and fine and dandy. I think given the space over here, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. So what I want to do is build some legitimate landing pads. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this yet, or in fact how big they are going to be, but I think I'm going to go from this pillar here to this pillar here, and just a little bit beyond. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to go about doing that. So I was pulling stuff onto the menu here, and I think I have everything that I need out here. This is where the connectors were, and I went ahead and pulled those off, mostly because they're not needed anymore. So there we go. Just have to get the pieces as they are needed. Which is, there we go. So what I decided here was that I was going to go ahead and all of the landing platforms and that sort of thing I build in heavy armor. So these are all equally spaced. So my intention is to come out, I think three looks good, 3 blocks. And then so the question is, do I build this, heavy, or do I keep it reasonably light? And I don't really have any way to. Normally, I kind of like to do slopes and that sort of thing on these, and I don't think there's any easy way to do that. So let's. This is the mount block. So this is actually the edge of the landing pad. So we go here, and this is just because you know what, I'm going to Now, I do have mirroring turned on, so this is going to save me a little bit of effort in terms of building, because I'm effectively building both sides of this guy simultaneously. This is actually going to be a pretty good sized landing pad. So I don't want to get too close to the landing bays here, because these bays are internal to the ship. I actually already put the miner in here, so that's there. So we're basically coming to beyond the end. So there's one, and then two, back, and then so at this point it's really just how big relative to everything else we're going to be. And I think I'm going to come out one more, which is really to say, I think, well, that comes out so much farther. So, is this a decent working width? Let me zoom out. I think. So this platform, I think, is going to be a little bit more narrow than, so this should now be, yeah, parallel with this outer 45-degree edge of the engine pods, and I'm okay with that. Okay, this is, I'm thinking some sort of a visual, yeah. That one looked like it was quite a bit off there. Alright, so that is the landing pad. And strangely, I went 2 there and 1 here. That was not really intentional. So structurally, 1 is better. So let us All right. Which is actually better because then I have more room here. So this one is a bit crowded. So landing in here is going to be a bit more challenging so you don't bounce off the ship. These two can really just zoom straight out. So not bad there. Alright. Doesn't look too terribly obnoxious. At least I don't think so. Alright. So I always do the centers in white. I don't know that there's really any I just like them white. I couldn't give you a really good reason as to why. All right. Landing lights are actually a really neat thing. I'm gonna do these a little differently than I normally would. I'm gonna turn off mirroring, and the reason I'm gonna turn off mirroring is because I'm doing the port side landing and then the starboard side. So the other thing that's kind of the aesthetic question mark is so obviously because these lights take up this whole block, then I can't put this one here and then this one here. So one here does not work. So you basically have to offset one way or the other. And I'm thinking to get the maximum light, I'm gonna put the ends on first. So that means I'm gonna go from here out, and I'll do the same thing at this end. So there's the max there, and we'll do the same thing over here. So this just adds lighting to the landing pad is the whole idea here. Now I've done some of these in blue. I really do enjoy having the blue on there. The downside to blue, for those of you who are not aware, blue has a very long wavelength. So blue actually is, to the eyes, actually one of the most harsh lightings that you can deal with. UV, of course, you can't see. It's also another very harsh light. But blue, even though, so the advantage to blue, the age-old question, why is the sky blue? The sky is blue because that's the wavelength that is least impervious to filtering. So air is a very effective filter. So light comes through, and there are various wavelengths of light that are filtered out by way of just going through, a mile or two of air. Blue, because of its unique properties and wavelength, manages to get through most of that. So it's one of the reasons why some of the headlights that you see on the roadways are that blue, because that wavelength penetrates very well, goes on down the road, bounces back, and then you can see it. And it's a harsh light, so the reflectivity of that light coming back is very visible because of the harshness of it. You're going to see these minute nuances of blue more so than you will see minute nuances of red or green or yellow or something else. So that's one of the advantages. So I do like doing landing pad lights in blue. Now, the downside to doing landing lights in blue is in Space Engineers, light does not really behave as light. The light sources drop off very, very quickly, which makes it kind of interesting. All right, so this is the port side landing bay. And one of the first things that we're going to do here, we're going to go ahead and take ownership of everything, which is, whoa, how did that happen? Lights no longer have ownership. Huh. Lights. Landing pad port. I'm gonna shift those up to 10, and I'm going to put the intensity up to 7. Is there any reason for that? Nope. I want the most light that I can manage. So lots and lots of light. You can see these don't even throw to the center of this thing, but they do pretty well. So this is 6 wide, which is an even number, which makes yep, 6 wide. So it makes putting down a connector look a little bit odd. So probably if I were really thinking about this and looking at things, I would have done it a 5. And I guess there's nothing that says we can't do that. So let's go ahead and do that. Having a plan gives us something to change, right? Alright, so all of those lights are now gone. We'll go back over to our black the downside is, alright, let us so I turned off mirroring when I did the lights, and I forgot to turn it back on. So what we're doing here is getting these to the point of being symmetrical. There we go. And then when we rebuild, we'll actually so the question is, given the width here, the length, let me get the sun out of our eyes so we can really look and see what I'm saying. So 5 is a little narrow. So what I'm thinking is I'll go out to 7, which would actually make things look a little better symmetry wise. It would be now out to the edge of the drive cones, which is, I guess, neither here nor there. Not a problem, but yeah, so I guess we'll do that. So rather than chopping off 1, we're actually adding on 1. So let us do this. We'll turn mirroring on. So there's 1 and 2. Then the corner back to here. We'll go down the length. To then our corner piece again, which is there, back to our white, back to our full block. All right, much better. So the original was here. I think I'm actually going to put it here in terms of where is the connector going to go. That's where I'm going to put it. So back to this, we're going to turn the mirroring off again. So this one goes there, that one goes there. We're going to come down this entire side. Then we are going to one there, one there. And we will put in, really the question mark is what color do we make this? And also which orientation. Not that it's going to connect either way, it's just kind of the aesthetic value. Do you want it sideways? Do you want it flowing there? So I'm going to do that. Conveniently, this gives us a place where we can sorry, one more thing. I'm going to turn mirroring on for just a moment, then back off. And the reason I did that is because now I just pasted the one on the other side as well. So here's my lights. So I want to find lights, landing pad, port, save, off, off. Go back down to lights, landing pad, port. We're going to go up to the radius of 10, the intensity of 7. All right, so those are done. Back in here, one of the things we do need to do is take ownership. And then back in one more time, and this is the port side landing pad. So landing pad port. We could also say port landing pad if you really wanted to. No, we'll leave that landing pad port. So that means this one is going to be landing pad starboard. And once those are there, we're going to leave those on the toolbar. They do have an inventory, and we are going to put those into this thing called connectors, save, and then off on the terminals. So those should have vanished, and this is all the minor stuff. Alright, so the port side landing pad is pretty much done. As you can see now, we come right out to the edge of the cones, so not a bad thing. So it's a 7 wide landing pad, so fairly capable landing pad. There's probably a lot of different things that we could put on here. Now, the question is, do we want 2 cargo ports? Do we want 3 cargo ports? What do we want to do in terms of cargo ports? If we really wanted to be very capable, we'd go ahead and put 3. Is there any reason not to? Probably not. So if we put There's one. Oops. All right, let's get this staged for mirroring. So we're going to delete that. We're going to add that. We're going to add that. We're going to go over to over to 8. Put in a heavy armor block. Back over to 4 and 3. The next one is going to go in the very center, which is here. Then the next one is going to go here. Alright, so this is going to give us the most flexibility, and for those of you out there who are as OCD as I am, then you also are going to very much appreciate the symmetry. Now, if I really wanted to be a goofball, then we could just be artistic for the sake of being artistic, and we'll put this one in sideways. Just like that. So we have 2 of them facing one way and 1 of them facing the other way. Okay, so the first 2 of these, so we're going to go in here, we're going to do a Control A, we're going to take possession of everything. Now, yes, correct, I have not plumbed them in on the bottom yet. That will happen. So, transferred to me. So we have to remember, so 22 in this case is landing pad port aft. Okay. So let's go ahead and highlight. So this one, that one's on the starboard side, this one's on the port side. It's pasting every other one, because the other one goes on the other side. This is the forward, because remember we deleted the center, and that means the forward is the next one. So this is forward, and then 28 now is center. Alright, and then we can do the same thing here. So this is actually starboard. And then this will be starboard forward. And then this one, oops, this one will be starboard center. Okay, and just for fun, let's have a look. So this one should be port aft, which it is, port aft. In fact, if we really wanted to take advantage of built-in features, then show on HUD. It's going to take a second for those to actually show up. There we go. So there's port aft, port center, and port forward. And then on this side we have starboard forward, starboard center, and starboard aft. So we did indeed label those correctly, which is good. Alright, okay, let's go all the way down. We will re-highlight all of these. We'll turn them off on the HUD. We're going to leave them on the toolbar, just like we did before. They do have an inventory. And then we'll go up here to the connectors group and save, and then turn them off on the terminal. Alright, so we are camera aft view. I ultimately deleted that camera, so I made some changes. And let me go ahead and get cameras, so we'll put this back in here. We want that on the toolbar because we need to map it to terminals. Rather toolbar, excuse me, and we'll turn that off. So we should now have everything in the miner and then the battleship. Remote. Okay, so the 2 things I still have on my list, I marked off cameras, I marked off toolbar, because the all the bridge consoles, I've got the toolbars, I think. set up reasonably well. So I don't know that I need to do anything else there. I don't know. So let's do a quick review of some of the changes. So if you remember, I had a split block here that basically it went towards the center. So the block itself was kind of straddling two blocks. And that was all fine and dandy, but I was thinking, okay, if we consider up thrust, so mechanical force, then this angle would tend to want to bend these things over time. I mean, that's a lot of force to be applying on a moment arm. So these guys, it's a short moment arm, I grant you, but it's still a moment arm. We're applying upward and downward force across basically a flat bar. So eventually that bar would tend to want to buckle. So what I did was create this angled piece here that I know that, okay, Space Engineers doesn't have this kind of physics, but I'm the one building. I know what structural integrity and structural support are supposed to be about, so I had to build it in. So anyway, we have basically built all four of the pods. We rebuilt that outer mount, so they are symmetrical all the way around. All right, so here's our other landing pad here. The only thing we need to do is build the lights, so I guess I need to do that before I really get going on other things. We are mirroring on, so we'll turn the mirroring off. And let's do... So there's one. And we'll do the forward ones. There's these. The outer edge. And then lastly, the inner edge here. All right, so again, I didn't realize that lights do not have an ownership, so that was a little bit unexpected. So if we do a Control A, it's going to already say me. I truly was not aware of that particular tidbit. All right, so I'm highlighting all of these guys. I'm going to go up here where I have lights, landing pad, port. So this is lights, landing pad, starboard. And then save, off, and off. We'll scroll back down to landing pad starboard. This is a 10, and my intensity is a 7. That way they are consistent. So one of the things that so how do you get to your landing pad without using your jetpack? And I think the answer is basically you don't. All right, let's ponder for a moment. Let's go ahead and connect these guys up. So we're going to turn mirroring back on, And then the next question is, I think I have used these guys extensively anyway. So there's a number 5 and a number 5. This is a 4. That's going to come in from there. 4, 4, 4. This is a T, and this is a T. Changing my orientation just a little bit here, and then we're back to a 4, which is ultimately going to come out the side. All right, the other thing that we are doing here is kind of armor plating this. So let's go ahead and there we go. Just there, and end up going out here, which is there and there, and then gotta move. One more. All right, and then lastly, put plate out here, and then one more plate there. All right, so that does most everything that I intended. So we could do a 3 and a 3, or we could put a, let's go ahead and change back to Tiger Orange. We'll go back to this, and like that. And now we're down to a 3 and 2. And what I mean by a 3 and a 2 is this. There's the 3. Huh. Let us follow our color schemes, shall we? How's that? So that connects those guys in. I think I'll leave it like that. I kind of like that. Either that, or we change this out to an armored block like this. Make it look a little bit more structurally sound. Alright. Not bad. So we still have everything here. The question is, do we want to build something similar out the front of these? Just for fun. Don't know. Can't hurt. Let me do a quick save here. I was expecting for Space Engineers to be doing some wonky things, but I'm getting sidetracked. So let me tell you about some changes. So we did these. I reviewed those. So the different mounting struts. I moved the cameras forward, the sight cameras. Now I did lose one block, and that was unfortunate, but I didn't see any way around that, because if I put anything here, I'm now in the swing pattern of this thing, and I want to keep those as open from a planar perspective as I can. So these dropped one block. Remember, they were here. If you see my reticle, they were on that block. So even with this lower set of guns, I would have had it up here, but that's an angled one. So what I did was put an angled block here, so you can see it here, and then put the camera in the front of it. So the camera is still in the center of the block, and so we can still effectively use it as a sight, although it is slightly low. And I've already remapped all of those, so they are where they wanted to be. All right, and here's the other camera. Now I'm not done here because I still have some structural support things that I want to do, but we'll come back to that. So let's continue aft. I changed this to be a full large gate airlock. So I had to move the camera because the camera used to be right here, and then I had to rebuild this stuff here because this block used to be a 45. So, oops. Alright, so T opens me into an airlock. Thankfully a large airlock. Close the outer door and open the inner door, and then we're into this giant space. And I really haven't done anything in here, and I don't intend to. I had to change a lot of this to accommodate the airlock being put in. The other thing I did, so we have two 4 assembler arrays up front. And, well, not up front, but in the forward shield room. It works. I'm happy with it. I think it's good. In this case, this is a 5 assembler array. Why? Because there was room. That's really the bottom line. So the only other thing that I could potentially do here is put shields, another set of shield generators back here. And I really don't have a problem with that. So I have room for 1 set back here. Which would make 6 total on the ship. I guess it's a use of otherwise unused space. So let's go ahead and bring up our 8 again. We'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of nope, I still need this, and in fact I need this one. But let's go down here. We're going to find, here's Ezo's cube and a large shield generator. Cube, we're going to have the frame of that be the tiger orange as always. We need 8 of these guys. Then, all right, I turned off mirroring. 7. So 7. There we go. Which is the shield grid itself. And then up slightly here. And we go back to the ESO cubes. Just have to make sure that's oriented in the right way because those ports do have to line up. See, unfortunately, and in fact, the reason I put the assemblers where I did forward was because I had the cubes available. This may be overkill on shielding. There's some point supposedly where the shields break, and I may have already reached that point. All right, so everything is to me. So shields forward, shields aft, shields aft. I think we're going to change this to shields mid, because technically they are. We're going to delete that one. ESO's cubes here now are all an upgrade mechanism, and I do have, I shouldn't, but I do have a group specifically for those. So off the toolbar, off on terminal. Then we go back down here and we find the shield generator, and then we have a systems shields. Oops. So the question mark is, do we really need yeah, let's be OCD. This is the aft starboard one because I actually pasted in the port side first. So that is, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call this aft 01 and we're going to call this aft 02. I'm going to purposefully control my OCD. All right, so why did I do this? So we're going to do shields forward. We're going to put those back on the terminal. Then we're going to scroll down here and we're going to see large shield generator, and I've actually got 2 sets in here. So shield generator, and these were forward, right? Shield systems forward. Yep, these were the forward ones. So forward 01. Oops. Forward 02. So this was 9, 10, 11, and 12, right? So forward 01. Three, and this will be 04. Whoa. How about forward 04? All right, so now that those are renamed, then we'll go ahead and delete that group. We have mid, scroll down here and just make sure that this was the mids. There's shields mid. So out of all these, we should still have, yes indeed. Oh, how did we end up with, oh, that's because I called them aft. So this is now mid. That's the problem with renaming, because every once in a while it changes to something else. And we change the names like this. Alright, then we go back up to our group, shields mid, and delete. And then, so let's go out, back in. We'll scroll down to the bottom here. We should just have a bunch of shield generators next to each other. So we have 8, 4 forward, 4 mid, and 2 aft. So 10 total, which is a lot. So systems, shielding, and save. So turn them off on the toolbar. They're not connected in, so there is no inventory. I don't even know why there's an inventory. And off on the terminal. All right. Now there was a way that you could put, maybe we'll look this up real quick. So I have to find the energy shields. Energy weapons. I will pull this onto the screen here. I just energy shields. So we can actually see some of it. New models. So this is an extremely handy thing if you're working with the energy shields. Then knowing this, which is a slant shield space show on HUD with capital S, capital O, and capital H. So 3 different words with capital letters, but no spaces in between. Space add. So shield and add are lowercase. So if you type that into your chat, then you'll actually get a figure on your screen. Unfortunately, it's dead center, but it's actually really nice to have. So what I wanted to see, there was a way that you could actually put shield HUD script. Easily display your shield status on an LCD with all sorts of fancy graphics. Huh. So we have to go there. Shields. script that displays your shields as a percentage in a visual bar to an LCD. It works with both defense shield mods. Dark Stars is actually really cool too. I've been watching. All right, so we're gonna subscribe. I guess we need to look at that. And graphics packs. Finally, 0 to 100%. So this may take a little bit of read and install. In-game script. Oh, maybe it'll be easy. We'll see. One more thing to play with. Okay, so we'll delete that one, the HUD shield script, now that we know that it exists. So there was a way to put it in the description. The new decal system disrespects the damage system. I don't know what that means. Huh. I didn't realize you can actually change the configuration file. I knew about this one. Oh, to read out the current shield strength of the grid, write colon behind the name of a shield generator. The shield strength will be updated automatically from there. Alright, so colon. Simple. Alright, so that was the shield mod. So let's drag this off the screen here, back onto the other screen. Alright. Oh. Get reoriented here. That really messed me up here. Alright, so off system shielding, shield generator aft 01 and aft 02. It says put a colon in. Whoa. I can't actually read that. Which is 16 million, I think. But I don't know how many digits are over here. I have no idea. Ship shield. 162. I don't know what the PT actually is. 162 mega somethings. Points? Don't know. so those are there. So the changes were, I changed from a 2 block wide, so 2x1 window back here to a 2x3 window. Thought was kind of cool. I was considering putting airlock out, which is actually why I ended up changing this airlock. But not a big deal. Alright, so close that one, open that one. Alright, so F8. So I'm going to use my, and I know I'm just totally going all over the place. So I think we're going to put the shields right there because I don't really have any better place to put it. So I am 2 minutes over, but I know if you're anything like me that you've already seen something and thinking, hey, this might be a lot of fun. So we're going to go ahead and play with the shield thing here and see if we can get the shield script to actually work. This is to me, yes. Let's go ahead and go to programmer block. Let's grab a spare. In fact, let's grab spare 4. That way I don't have to renumber the other ones. Shield HUD. Probably a good name for it, right? We'll go into workshop. Hopefully, here we go. There's the shield HUD. And OK. So, how does this work? Install. Add it to your mod list. Blah, 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 blah. Defense shield mod pack. Okay. Both mods may be installed at the same time. Install the graphics. Name just one of your shield generators. Shield question mark, or as importantly, all right, and then LCD name prefix. Okay, we're going to come back into this. So I'm going to do one thing at a time here. I need to name one of these guys shield. Shield. There we go. So let's go ahead and name that one shield colon 162 million. Wow. All right, back to program block, shield HUD edit, and then it has to be named shield LCD. So C, check code, okay, remember exit. Then we will go and we'll just name this guy Shield LCD. Nothing happening. Did it forget that? Edit the first half of your LCD's name to include the text of LCD name prefix. The second half of your LCD's name, display mode. Bars and text shield only. Oh my. Alright, so sorry, I gotta bring this back in because we've got a bazillion choices here and I really kind of want to see what those choices are all about. So let me bring this back in, scroll back up, and then back over to page 1. We should have the shield. Oh, how about here? There we go. Well, it doesn't actually say what all the different ones are, so so I'm guessing that's a horizontal bar. That would be the vertical bar. I like all this information too, though. Okay, I guess that means we're just going to get a little creative. Alright, so I'm going to, oops, notepad. Oops. So I'm gonna put these, well, I'm going to try and put these off to one side here so I can actually see them. Alright, so check code, okay, remember, and I'm going to try the curved one. And let's see what happens. Do I own this? Yeah. try to recompile. Shield HUD, edit, check code. Yes, remember and exit. Still nothing. Well, it says edit the first half of your LCD's name to include the text blah blah blah. Edit the second half to include blah blah blah. Well, that one doesn't seem to be working. So let us try another option, which is bars and text shield display large font, which is BTL. BTL. Oops. Definitely large font. So that one seems to work. Shields 1, full 1. Bars and small font BTS. Shields 99%. Oh, you know, I bet I know why that didn't work. I will probably have to go out, actually load in those graphics, and then come back in. Corner. Because if that's truly small font, I have no idea what large font would be. That would be pretty incredible. All right, so the good news is we kind of have this working. I like it. Wish there was some place that was a little easier to see it. Well, in any case, so experimenting looks like it paid off. We still have a little bit more to go, obviously, but we'll go ahead and stop the video here. I think this is a good place. So we actually accomplished something. This is really cool. So being able to actually see where our shields are at versus what they might be otherwise. So this is pretty cool. So this is Kentu Tiger signing off. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.